From the left coast, it's a show for the streets, strictly for the culture, strictly for our people. YouTube the views, log on and stream. Some news you can use with your host Chrissy B. Get familiar, yeah. Get familiar. Get familiar. Get familiar. You gotta get familiar. Yeah.
First things first. Siri, how do you play pool? Okay, let's see. All right. Let me see. So Siri is gonna teach me how to play pool.
Okay. No, I do not. But we're gonna find out today.
We're gonna find out today. Well, thank you for joining me. Our little Sunday pool session, get familiar session.
Absolutely.
With Chellz. How are you?
I'm good. Actually, you know, I'm really excited about 2020 ending. That's probably the most exciting thing for me right now.
I thought you were gonna say about 2020, but it's 2020 ending.
No, but you know what? Like I talked about this before. Like this necessarily wasn't a bad year for me. Mm-hmm. Like globally, it was bad, but as far as personally, like you know, my family, nobody's been sick. Like I haven't really lacked anything as far as like resources and finances, things like that. So I've pretty much been okay. And then it kind of like, I feel like with everybody else, it birthed a lot of things out of people, like even myself, because so lack of things this year or us being shut down kind of birthed like a whole different, you know, like side I feel like to myself.
That's dope though.
Yeah. That makes me think about like what all were we doing pre-pandemic, you know? Probably nothing.
Right? Not being, like right now we have to kind of dig in that, okay, so let's get resourceful. Let's figure out how to be reinnovative. So we have to really, really dig deep and figure out how to make this work. And unfortunately, a lot of people lost their jobs. Like you said, a lot of people got sick, a lot of people died from it. But on the flip side, I'm like you. Unfortunately, I wasn't affected by it. I haven't been affected by it. So, but what it did do allowed me to sit. I've never sat down prior to the pandemic.
Absolutely.
I didn't know how to sit down.
Absolutely.
I was always on the go. And then even with work stopping, stores shutting down, everything shutting down, it allowed me just to sit and put a plan in place. And my first plan was actually get fit, work out. You've been wanting to do it for a long time. You've always made excuses prior to. This is now the time to figure out how you're going to get fit. So that was like the start of the pandemic for me. And then just being able to like execute ideas and put things in, you know, into fruition.
See, that's the thing. Like the key word you said right there was execution. Like, you know, every year we buy the planner, we buy the journal, right? And life happens to us. We never had a moment to be still pre-pandemic. So it's like the execution didn't happen like we thought it was, right? We write down like our yearly goals and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna cross this off. But things happen. When you're able to go outside, when you're able to resume life as it was pre-pandemic, it puts you in the mindset of like, you know, like, oh, I'll do this next month or I have time. But the pandemic kind of shook things up in everybody to where it was like, well, what if I don't have time? You know, and then it's like I'm at home, I'm doing literally nothing. So why not put that energy into myself, like you said, being fit, or even like, you know, like my ideas and really executing them. Like, I feel like the things that I've executed probably wouldn't have happened if we weren't in the pandemic. Just because.
Elaborate, that's what we're here for. So let's talk about unraveling those things. Like what basically were you able to, you know, accomplish?
Well, you know, we were kind of thrown into. We were thrown into like a. Are you gonna go first?
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna hit first.
You're gonna hit first.
Okay.
Mind you, we don't know how to play.
We don't have to play at all. Okay, so
I had to ask
here.
Siri. I had to ask Siri.
I feel like I don't have space.
Right, this is the other side.
So I have to go here. So I should be here.
Do whatever. Y'all can probably just break it already. Act like it's already broken.
No, we're gonna try this. We're gonna see what to play. Yeah, we're really gonna try to play. Okay, so.
You can unscrew the stick, maybe you get it shorter. Never mind.
Maybe like.
Because how.
You can just move the ball forward.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Y'all are trying to play me like I don't know what I'm doing.
The way you even hold it don't even look right. This technique don't even look right.
This is my technique. I just go like this.
That's the right way you're supposed to hold the stick.
I know. You put your little hand here. and you just go like that.
Wait, the white ball went aside.
So what's that mean?
What does that mean?
I gotta do it over?
No, it's her turn.
Okay, it's your turn. Okay, look, we learning as we go.
You gotta come get it though. The
Get this white ball and put it over there.
You gotta go get the white ball and put it on there.
Oh, I can't even.
Because you gotta do it up to
So she
scratch.
can't touch it.
No,
Okay, this is crazy.
Okay, we learning as we go.
Already, this is crazy.
Okay, good. Okay, so
Put it behind even one of the second dots and then you get it.
But I can position the ball wherever I want, right?
On that
Oh,
side.
wait.
But just go ahead.
Yeah.
For the sake of,
for the sake of content building, we could just go ahead and attempt. Doesn't that space feel short right there?
Just put it somewhere you got enough space to really get it to. You got both into jujitsu. There you go.
Okay, cool.
Moving nothing.
Okay, cool. Now I hit the white ball and stuff, right after this?
Does it stay there or do we have to move
No, I hit the white ball again.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I was saying previously, is that, you know, we were kind of like, ooh, look at my form.
What form, sis?
We were kind of like, we were basically, and nothing happened from that. So basically we were just kind of like thrown into like such a digital space, you know, because like I was doing like the red carpets and stuff like that, and those were like events outside. So what happened was like the digital landscape kind of shifted to Zoom. And
Did you adjust the Zoom?
I'm still adjusting to
Were you
Zoom.
working with Zoom prior to?
Never.
Yeah, me neither.
Never.
When I jumped on that shit, I was like, what is this?
Never. And you know what's funny, because I worked with Skype.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's like Zoom just came in and just kind of like pushed Skype all the way out the way. But I started working with Zoom like everybody else. You know, they send you the link and then you do everything. But there are some people that are so good at it. Like they know how to do backgrounds. Like they know how to record it. They know how to create the meeting. I don't do any of that stuff. I just basically accept the link and then I go live or whatever the case may be. So that it kind of shifted me during the pandemic. And then utilizing IG Live, which I think everybody did.
Yes.
Like so many.
At
like,
first, it was IG lives
all day. It was so annoying.
I was like, I don't know who to join.
The whole script was like IG Live,
yes.
right? That kind of pushed me into that, like taking, you know, a podcast that I once had, that was at actual studio, and then like shifting it over to IG Live. And then from there, just
What was the name of your podcast?
the Cheat Code Podcast.
Okay.
So then from there, you know, I'm doing BET Awards virtually. I had like 2 Fox Soul appearances virtually. So from the pandemic, like I still was able to continue to kind of, you know, I feel like kind of push the brand as much as I could. But what really catapulted me during this time of pandemic was that tweet going viral.
Yeah.
That kind of set things off for me. And, you know, going viral is one of the things that you really don't expect.
Yeah.
But so many opportunities come from it,
Yeah.
just because the tweet went everywhere. It was, I mean, it had over 20 million impressions.
Which is crazy.
It was mentioned on the Reel. Where else? It was on Apple News. It was on BuzzFeed. Like the tweet just kind of like, it just had legs. It just went everywhere. So from there, and then also being vocal during the pandemic about just the social injustices and just like the racism that were happening and the lack of resources. Like I was vocal on Twitter every day, like everybody was, because we had time to really talk about it. But you know, utilizing your voice on certain platforms can really put you in a different space to where people want you to utilize your voice on a larger platform. So that's why I always tell people, like, just to kind of express how you really feel.
Did you get any backlash from that though?
From the tweet?
Like, were people coming for you or any type of negative, like just responses or feedback from any of it?
No, not that one, but it happens to me. Not that one. That one in particular was about the pandemic. It was about me waiting outside until, like, you know, the first, I forgot the tweet already. So basically I was saying, like, I'm gonna let y'all go outside first and then let the first batch of air exercise, and then, you know, once the coast is clear, I'm coming outside. So no, a lot of people during that time, because it was like so somber, because the pandemic just started, it was like back in like April. So people were really like, really relating to it, really laughing. There were like so many comments, and I can't even keep up with it now. Sometimes I go back to the tweet and it's like, it's so far down that I don't really look. But sometimes I will get somewhat of like a backlash about tweets if I'm tweeting about things like men being broke and ugly. I get a lot of backlash about that. I have to delete
But
it
you're
recently.
very, very. I feel like when you speak, and even when you tweet, you have no filter.
No.
Which is okay to me because
Mhm.
it allows you to really. I get to see who you are.
Mhm.
I just don't like. I hate reading a tweet or reading somebody's shit and it just looks real like somebody wrote that for them.
Yeah.
Or it's just real kind of like. I know you didn't say that.
Absolutely.
You know, I like to be able to. Well, that's how she's feeling today.
I mean, yeah, because sometimes I'll wake up and I'll tweet things and it'll be very inspirational, motivational, which is really myself, or it'll be like, you know, something very spiritual, which is really myself. And then some days I'll look at the timeline because that's where I get my material, where I get my comedic material from, right? And then I'll see what everybody's talking about. Like one day they were like basically talking about Birkin bags, and like all the men who can't afford Birkin bags were like chiming in. So then I tweeted, you know, like this is the only platform where men can be broken ugly and have an opinion. And then like only the broken ugly men were like coming for me. Like, no, like I understand. Like they were retweeting. They were retweeting and just saying the most nastiest stuff. Like, look at this bitch. Like this bitch. I was just like, you guys are so mad, but the men that can afford things and aren't ugly have nothing to say.
That's hilarious.
What? Record skip. Serious. But other than that, most of my other tweets, they're like pretty much like motivational and encouraging.
Yeah.
But I deleted that one just because I don't go back and forth with people on Twitter. I don't argue with people on the internet I do not know. And then I'm also not gonna put myself in a position where I know that my tweet can go really far and it's connected to people using a lot of offenses. Because it's just like, it's not that serious for me. Like I don't have a filter, but I'm not looking for a viral moment. I'm not looking to like be the next thing and I don't like to sensationalize certain things. So I will delete it. And it's not because I care about the opinions of others, but that's my name connected to people that are using offenses. And it's like my brand is not really about like totally bashing men at all. But if I see something funny on the timeline where they're talking about men, I am gonna talk about it. But you should see the stuff that's in my draft that I don't tweet. Cause sometimes I'm like,
I want to see those.
I'm like, I'm not gonna say
Maybe we should
that.
have like a whole little just segment just for like the
drafts.
stuff that does not get
Yeah.
the stuff that doesn't get showed or told or said.
Absolutely, maybe we should because that's probably only like the funny stuff on Twitter is probably like maybe only like 10% of what I feel like is really connected to my brand. I don't want to be represented for like, because there are some really angry people on Twitter. And
Twitter's an interesting. Like, I just kind of recently jumped back on Twitter.
Okay.
Maybe for like it's probably been like 6 months. So I feel like I took a whole like maybe year off of Twitter, and I'm like, this is a whole different beast.
It is.
It's a whole different beast.
I love Twitter though. Like I feel like I found my sweet spot with Twitter because it's a place where you can express your opinions, you can be vocal, and people can see your personality. As for Instagram, it's just like a layout of pictures, you know. But this is like we're having a conversation every day. So when I wake up and I get on Twitter, I'm like, what are they talking about today? Sometimes it could be the election, and sometimes it could be like we're watching something as a family. You know what I'm saying?
When the awards come on, it goes down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when verses happen.
Yes.
I had another viral tweet when Monica and Brandy because I'm not even going to that tweet. But
Monica's white shoes were holding.
it was more so her writing songs when she was like your daughter's age. That's what made everything so funny to me. It was like I was like 7 when I wrote like you got it, sis. Like, we believe you. You know what I'm saying? Like you're iconic. So things like that, and then like
She just wants y'all to know that she's been here.
Exactly. Hello, like I've been here since a kid. Like get familiar. Period. Right? So things like that, or if there's like a TV show like a Love Craft Country was out. Like those are the things I utilize Twitter for. I think it's a great platform for anybody basically trying to build your brand because everything on Twitter is also shareable. So if you have a link to like your YouTube or your website or your content, it takes people 2 seconds to retweet it and your views go up. Like when I post content to Twitter, my views I get way more views on my video content than I do on Instagram because of algorithms and because of other things. I mean, I really don't understand Instagram at this point. But yeah, I think that this pandemic really, going back to the first thing you asked me, it just really put me in a position to, I guess, get more exposure digitally than I would have like just doing red carpet events and stuff.
So going back. Are you LA native?
Mm-hmm.
You are. Okay.
Born and raised here.
What's your area? What's your neighborhood?
Long Beach.
Oh, so you're from Long Beach?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Well, Well, technically Lakewood, as DJ Head says it, because I was arguing with DJ Head. I told him I'm from Long Beach. He says I'm from Lakewood. Technically, I lived in Lakewood.
So what's the connection? See, I don't know nothing about Long Beach.
Okay,
So what's the connection between?
I was born in Long Beach. So how do you view demographics? Where you grew up and where you were raised, or where you were born? So then I can clarify.
Where you grew up and were raised.
Okay.
To me, because somebody could be born in Jamaica, but they were raised in LA.
Okay.
They spent the most of their childhood in LA.
Okay, so I was born in Long Beach, right? But I grew up in the city of Lakewood, right? However, when it comes to Lakewood and Long Beach, there are streets that you cross and you're literally in Long Beach. You don't.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Right? So I would say I grew up in the greater Long Beach area. But when I went to go to sleep at night, it was in the city of Lakewood.
Okay. So
does that make sense?
Long Beach, Lakewood. We're just gonna connect them together.
Absolutely.
I
grew up in Long Beach, Lakewood. I went to Lakewood High School.
Okay.
Lancers. And then but we would always ditch school and go up to Poly, go up to Jackrabbit Lane. And a lot of the stuff that we did when we hung out in high school was in Long Beach. So I was always in Long Beach. I just went to sleep in Lakewood. Lakewood during the time when I grew up was like, I think it was only me and another black person on my street. It was a very quiet residential area. So like when I wanted to have fun and hang out and do stuff, it was in Long Beach with the black people.
So when did the passion kick in? Was that high school? Was it college? Or like being in media, knowing you wanted to do, was that all a part of the plan, or did it just kind of happen gradually as you got older, stuff started falling into place, you were connected with certain people?
Well, I knew that from a child that I wanted to definitely get into public speaking. Like, I was always doing speeches as a kid.
What's your degree in?
I don't have a degree.
Oh, okay.
No, all of this stuff was just 100% God's favor and just networking.
And that's okay.
Absolutely.
That's okay. And we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, that, I feel like it's just so traditional, or it's just kind of like this old remedy, like you gotta go to college.
Oh, I have
a very kind of ancient to some. Again, I'm not ever saying not go to college.
But it is an anxious thing because we became our own personal PRs now.
Exactly. Even like with the record, with the music industry. Why would I join a record label when I can make $1 million being indie?
Why?
Figure out that indie hustle.
Yeah.
And keep all money in.
Because
it's just different routes to it depending on what you want to do. But I'm not really forcing my daughter to go to college and be in debt and paying that shit off for the rest of her life.
It's debt. It's for sure debt.
All that debt for what? But if that's what she does, I'm going to encourage it. But if she's like, then you know what do you want to do? You want to play the piano? So let's get the best piano instructor. Let's go to the best piano school. Let's put the passion and the money behind that. So that's kind of dope though. So kind of elaborate more on that story.
So, and I do want to say this too, that I think college is great for experience.
Yeah.
Like now that I'm older, I would have went to like a HBCU or something like that, just for that experience. But and another thing is Charlamagne doesn't have a degree either. He talked about it before, so it's like, look at him. Like you really don't. I hate to say you don't need, because I don't know what field you're in. So you got to be really very careful when you talk about degrees, because there are certain fields you absolutely should have a degree.
Well, you want to be a doctor, lawyer,
100%.
Medical,
100%.
dentist. Yeah.
Because I don't want you to be a self-taught surgeon. Like I just pulled up YouTube.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Just imagine.
Yeah. No,
like open heart surgery, they just have like YouTube right there.
Self-taught is hilarious. Yeah, no, for sure.
So going back, I was, even as a child, I just kind of, like public speaking was just kind of like my jam. And I did speeches in elementary school. I did speeches at like our fifth grade graduation, our middle school one. I did speeches in high school. But the thing is, when I got to high school, I knew that there was something that I wanted to do in public speaking, and that was to become a rally girl. And those are the girls that like, you host the rallies basically, right? And I had...
That's cute.
Yeah, we had
such a cute thing to want to do.
It was, because I didn't want to do cheer.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't into sports, but like I definitely know that I'm able to like host a rally, right? Like just naturally. So I auditioned to do it, but I didn't get it because I didn't have the grades. I didn't have the grades in high school. My objective was always to entertain, to move at the beat of my own drum, to do what I wanted to do, and to make money. Like that has just always been my personality, right? So at school, I wasn't like academically though, or let's just say I have the intellect, but I just didn't have the will at that time because I just did not. I always felt like, why am I here? Like I could be doing things to push me forward financially or push me forward because I knew that my journey was never about to be about like a degree because I knew that what I wanted to do, which was like radio and television, it's like I knew that I had to have some sort of like certification maybe, but a degree wasn't fully my path in high school at least. So then I got out of high school and then I did go to college. But I did not go to university. I went to Long Beach City College only because I was able to have a college radio show. That is the only reason why I was there. So I was in the radio television program. So at the time I could have a college radio show, but then I also could learn the skills to do television broadcasting at the same time. So it's the only reason why I actually went to school. Other than that, I probably wouldn't went to school. So then there birthed a radio show called Mixtape Mondays. And I had an opportunity to interview everybody local from AD, Kendrick Lamar, OT Genesis, who else was on my show? Scheme.
And back then, that's a pretty big deal.
It's a big
to
deal.
have that under your belt, especially looking for it now.
No content though, because I didn't have like the video thing. It was like a time, this was like 2009. So I was still trying to figure out how to do those things. Like I just
none of this recorded.
No, I have like a CD of my people like 80, but I have some pictures, but I have no like visual anything. I had YRF when it was Neeson and them, and I had Notch Boy. Like I had everybody local, right? Yeah. And at the time, it was only my radio show, and then Jamie Shell had Up Next Is, and of course Homegrown. Okay. So it was like if you were a local independent artist, like that was like your tour stop, right? Like you're gonna frequent like those 3 outlets. Like I was new and coming up, but it just took off so fast because I was so aggressive with it. Like I would be reaching out and DMing people like, hey, I'm not as aggressive like that anymore, but I should.
That was MySpace era, wasn't it?
It was, yes, like MySpace. I want to say MySpace.
Was it Instagram? Instagram wasn't around. No.
2009.
No, it was MySpace.
Facebook
and MySpace.
Facebook. I had even one point where like every other Monday I would have like a guest DJ. Like I was running like a real radio program. I had Goofy in there one day, like mixing. Like I was running a really good program, and I was able to interview a lot of cool people at the time. And it just kind of took off from there. People kind of started to get wind of what I was doing and started reaching out to me to have like their artists come by, and I didn't turn away anybody. Like I didn't care if you just started your mixtape like last week. Yeah, I don't care if it wasn't even mixed down. Like that's fine. Like we'll play it, you know, because I just always believed in, or my passion even to this day is to be able to tell people's story and give people an outlet to tell their story. And I feel like the independent artists, they just kind of didn't have that. And look at another huge today. You know what I mean?
Everybody you just named.
It's huge. Yeah. You know, but at the time, everybody was just starting. I think when I had Kendrick, he was like on the Kendrick Lamar LP. So that was like before Section 80. Like that's when.
No, this is early. Like
I think like the
super early.
I think like She Needs Me was like the song that I was like super into at the time. Like so it was
09.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was really cool. Like, and this is when like you could literally walk up to these artists and be like, oh, what's your email? Like I got a radio show. Like, you know, and it's like their emails were like their names. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like
Yahoo.com.
Right. It wasn't like, oh, speak to my management, speak to my team. It was like, oh yeah, for sure. Right. Exactly. It was local. It was in Long Beach. It was a real studio at a school. So it was like really cool. That was like probably one of like the funnest times I had.
Wow, and that was kind of like your start, your itch.
My itch.
I gave you your itch.
And then from there, I was interning at Kiss FM, which was Clear Channel then, and then that's how I got into red carpets because I was able to interview. My first celebrity interview was Keke Palmer in 2010, and I was doing a press junket for an event they were having, and that's when I went from interviewing local artists, and then the next moment I was interviewing Keke Palmer, Paul Wall. Just Blaze, Nick Cannon, Jason Derulo, all these
people. That's all off
of
the independent grind. That's all off of the independent grind.
And use your intuition. I always tell people to use your intuition. Like let it be your guide and like just kind of, I don't know, because I feel like I never had anybody coach me on what to do, right? So I just felt like, okay, in my mind, I'm like, you have a radio show. Why don't you get an internship at a radio station? And like no one told me that. No one was like, you should get an internship. I just intuitively, I feel like I've always been guided just by certain things and certain thoughts, and then I just really act on it. And you know, some things birthed, a lot of them birthed, some things didn't, but I always knew the things that birthed was the direction I was supposed to be going in. And then that just took me off for like 3 years, and then I just stopped for 4. Then everything
What was the
just
stop for?
Oh, girl.
Life.
Girl.
Let me shoot my shot on this one.
Right, please.
Let me shoot my shot
So
on
you
this
wanna
one.
come on this side?
You know what? I'm about to cheat a little bit.
So,
This is not a traditional pool game, okay? We just
no, it's not.
playing by our own rules today.
So at this point, you know, I'm interning. I got the local radio show. I live at home with my parents. And, you know, I want to be grown. I'm like, I want a real job. I want to move out. I want to do X, Y, and Z. Why? I don't know. Who wants to just pay rent at 22 years old? Me. So I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Because you wanted to be independent, you wanted to be off on your own.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm not about to do this hustle and bustle grind of working part-time. I'm working like up against the wall in the mall.
Fox Hills?
No, Lakewood.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
That was
like,
the spot to work at back in the day, by the way.
right. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm popping. I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm broke though. Like, I was like, I'm not about to do like all this hustle and bustle. I was like, I'm about to get a real job. So I stopped the internship ended. I only did 2 seasons of Mixtape Mondays, and then I went to work a regular 9-to-5 job at a call center, making at the time, which was a lot of money. It's 2009, so I'm making like $14 and some change plus commission, right? So then I move out and with a
That's
really
a shame that that's a lot of money back in the day.
Oh, that's a lot of money in
Yeah.
2009, right? So
Yeah.
then I move out and I get a roommate. Oh, I did the break thing again because I don't know what I'm doing.
Did nothing.
I was supposed to hit the green ball.
Did
and I
nothing
was at the
hit.
point. So, it's your turn now, huh?
Yeah, but I'm like, I'm supposed to place it as long as it's behind.
The dots.
Right.
You got space?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I move out. I get a roommate. I think I'm grown. You know, I'm making a little money, whatever. And
I think I'm wrong.
I think I'm grown. My check's probably like $500, right?
Spend all that shit in one day.
Right, $500 check. Look at me, and I had a car note. I just wanted to be grown. It was so bad. It was the dumbest thing in the world, right? Now that you're older, it's like that's really dumb.
That's really
Like
dumb,
stay at
yeah.
home, save your money, whatever.
Exactly.
But so then that happens. In 2011, I get into a car accident, and my whole like world was like shifted upside down. So I was on the freeway, and my physical body got hit by a car going 90 miles an hour. And my physical body, I was ejected. My body was hit 90 miles per hour. My body was thrown 9 yards down the freeway.
Oh my God.
I'm out of the car though. This is not in the car.
Oh my God.
So it hits me. I'm thrown down the freeway, and from that point on, all my lower was crushed in half, right? So my pelvis crushed in half, my tibia, which is the largest bone in your thigh, that's crushed in half. My knee is cracked, and then my shin on the front is cracked, and I'm in the hospital for a month. I'm in ICU though for 10 days. My blood pressure and my heart rate was like over like 200, like constantly every day. I have 3 blood transfusions.
Oh my
I had emergency surgery when they first brought me in, the trauma unit. I was in surgery for 8 hours. I had 2 doctors. I had a hip specialist and a leg specialist at the same time, right? So I always tell people like getting hit by a car is like everything you're imagining right now. You know, like I'm driving, my car crashes into the carpool lane wall. Something with my tires and my steering just crashes, right? And then I get out, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so it was nobody on the freeway. So I get out, I was following my ex-boyfriend at the time, so I was just in her to run his car, because literally nobody's on the freeway. So I thought, right? So I hit the carpool lane wall like this, so I turn, hit the wall. Literally, I get out of my car, like I can hear the door close behind me. All I see is like lights, and I hear skirt, and it just like smacked me and threw me, like down the freeway. So then I finally come to, and I'm just like laying on my back, and then I'm just like praying that I could be able to walk, because I can see my legs, and they're like twisted like a pretzel. And my pelvis area was like in so much, like it was a pain that like I continued.
Excruciating.
I continued to feel the pain like a whole year later. Like in my memory, I could still feel the pain. So I couldn't walk. I had to learn how to walk and sit up again from July. Oh, I didn't walk until December, and that was like with like
How long ago was this?
2011. So this is during that time, right? So this is when I stopped everything. So I had a car accident, I couldn't walk and things like that. And then I got into this relationship and I became incredibly lazy. And after that, I was in that relationship and then it was kind of like a controlling situation, should I say. And I kind of just didn't want to do the things that like would be causing a rift in my relationship, which is probably following my own dreams and ambitions, So those are the things that happened to me during that time period. When you're a young woman, you're figuring things out, you're in a relationship, you have these dreams, you have these goals, you don't get hit by a car, and this person is with you when you're hit by a car, which is the lowest moment in your life, and, you have somebody by your side, so you kind of like are in a space, I was in kind of a space where it's like, okay, I don't really need to do that stuff right now because, my life was challenged at this moment, so that stuff doesn't really matter. But during that time, that 4-year period where I was on hiatus, it was always in the back of my mind because it was just something that continued to call me, like, it was like this meme I seen the other day. It was like, you're calling, like, we'll keep calling until you answer, right? So that happened, and then I got better, I started walking, life became normal, things like that, and then essentially the relationship ended. When the relationship ended, it was 2015, and then that's when I started back on my quest. Like, okay, I'm about to get back into it. I literally didn't know how at all, right? Like, I didn't know where to start. I just knew I wanted to start, right? So like I was always constantly praying to get back into it. So a couple small things happened during that time. I was able to do a couple like events, doing like some red carpet hosting. This is off of people remembering what I did for the Mixtape Mondays.
Because 4 years prior to
that. Because during that time of me doing the college radio show, I was also hosting events. This was back when like our local fashion people were having fashion shows. So I was hosting fashion shows. One of them was with JoJo. And so people kind of knew that I hosted events. So after that, a couple people reached out to me, just like, oh, are you still hosting? And I'm like, yeah. So I did 2 like smaller events. And then after that part, me and my friend, we ended up going to, Miss Diddy was having like these brand courses, events or something. It was like something about branding. So I was there and Jasmine and Angelica were there, both of them, Jasmine Brand and Angelica from the Shade Room were there, and they were on the panel. They were talking about like blogging and things, this and that. So I went up to Meyer, which is the co-owner with Jasmine. I was like, are you guys looking for people to do red carpets or do interviews, like for interns, whatever? Wasn't looking for anything paid.
Right. He
was like, yes, took my information. Never asked for a reel or anything, and the first red carpet I got back into was the Greenleaf premiere with Oprah, and I interviewed Oprah.
Wow.
No, they didn't even know from that. This is why I always said, like, I always tell Jasmine whenever I see her, like, I love you guys because you guys just took a big risk because you guys had no idea what I could do. Right. So I interviewed Oprah that night, and I was able to like, I'm just chilling with her, partying, all kind of stuff, and interviewing her, and then from that moment on. It kind of was a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm. And you've been on a roll since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So basically, off and on since 2009, I've been doing like the media thing. And then there was a small portion of the 4-year blockage where I started going heavy into makeup as well. So I worked at MAC as a makeup artist for 3 years.
So that's a side hustle.
It is currently, and that's something I don't really like to do.
Yeah.
Like
when you say you don't like to do, you don't like to promote it, or is it? What do you mean you don't like to do it?
Both. I mean, like I just did 5. I had 5 clients yesterday off the strength of these are my returning clients. I haven't promoted in like years, and people still email me or text me like, "Are you available to do makeup?" And I always send them other people.
Wow.
Just because I don't know. Like I still to this day don't know why. I just don't like to do it.
You're really good at it.
Thank you. And thank you.
It's by you.
Thank you. It is. Be by my Michelle. That was my tagline back in the day. Be by my Michelle. So like the beauty and media industry is like 2 areas where I kind of toggle between. Mm-hmm. And then I am introducing something coming soon as it relates to beauty. So and media ties
It's
together.
gonna be your new show.
Yes.
It's
called Behind the Beat. It is an outlet for people in the beauty industry to tell their story because I feel like as a makeup artist, we have a story too.
Yeah.
But everyone always focuses on the work you do or the client. Like let's say you're a celebrity makeup artist, everybody's like, oh my God, you did such and such face, or that's such and such makeup artist, but you don't know their story. You know, nobody interviews them. Nobody pulls them to the side and says, hey, how long have you been doing makeup? And what happened? What's your journey? So, and I knew as a makeup artist myself, we had such a journey, such a story, like that nobody talks about. So I'm creating an outlet for beauty professionals to be on, to come on and tell the story. Chevy was my first interview. Cheverly Hill, shout out to her. So she came in and we were talking, and it's just, I have other guests lined up too. So that's kind of me merging those two worlds. Like, I love the beauty industry, I really do, but as far as me just being a standalone artist by itself, like, not really my thing, but to be able to talk to people and create that platform to tell their story, that's more of like my zhuzh. And I still do product reviews and things like that. Like, people will send me things to review, and I'll do that. I'll do unboxings and stuff. But as far as like the actual like doing makeup, like I will. Like if somebody asks me, I will.
Do it.
Yeah, but as far as me like promoting it heavy like I was back in the day, like no, not
So are you really knowledgeable? I'm assuming you are, like with skincare and products and.
skincare, not so much, but products and product placement and how to use the products and when to use them, and that for sure. Skincare, not so much. I'm not like a skincare girl. I know like the basics of skincare, but not like in the line of like an esthetician. No, but like makeup, yeah, I can talk makeup with somebody all day long and teaching somebody how to do it and things like that for sure. Like the best products for your face, absolutely.
I really like your story because it's very like non-traditional. You hear a lot of people like, well, you know, I graduated high school and then I went to college for 4 years and then I got my degree in this and then I interned here and then, you know, like it's a very non-traditional, not by the book, didn't expect kind of story.
No, and I'm missing so much stuff because it's so full.
It's so much that happened in between that kind of gets you to this point. And it's really inspiring too, because I have that same kind of a journey. Like I knew what I wanted to do very young, but I really didn't know necessarily like the formula to it. So I just tried different shit.
Basically, yeah,
I just tried different shit. And I've never been afraid to speak or to reach out to people or to like, I'm not lazy, I'm not afraid to hustle, I'm not afraid to go for it. I don't care about them, no, okay, thank you, that's okay, and I'll try the next option or you know, what's next? You know, and I think that's really, to me, like the formula of really chasing that dream.
It is.
That's really the formula.
It is.
I tell people all the time, like people are like, well, how do you do? I just do it. That's the first step. Just do it.
And it's hard to explain. People ask you like, well, how you do other stuff? Like, I don't know. I just do it. Like, I've never. I don't have a mentor. I don't have like somebody that guided me through this process. It was just trial and error. It was just me figuring out. It was just me critically thinking, like being at the right place at the right time, going to network events, talking to people. And I go to network events alone. I don't go in a group because I don't need. That's key as well. I tell people all the time. You want to go network? Go by yourself.
I agree.
Because number one, if you're afraid, you're not gonna have that crutch. And two, let's say somebody huge coming up and they come into both of us. It's a very chance that they're gonna pick both of us, right? For an opportunity. So if you go alone, it's only you. Like it's not like you and your 4 friends, and then now they're like, okay, well, who want to do what? All y'all do the same thing, so okay, send me y'all emails. You know what I'm saying? And this is not even like a shade to your friends, but when you go alone, it teaches you to be more independent, and the opportunity that God has for you is going to be for you. Like you don't have a group setting as a crutch, or you don't have a group setting to where it's like
I completely agree.
It's like now, like oh, like you didn't get the opportunity. It was 5 of y'all. They didn't want to talk to all 5 of y'all either at the same time. Y'all asking, throwing the person question. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, dang, you didn't get the actual question now. It's like because the 3 people you went with first, and now the person only had 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? To give you their email, and it's like I missed on an opportunity because it was 10 of us trying to excuse me. You know what I'm saying? So alone, you can have a conversation style. I remember I went to an event like years ago. It was an event that Tammy was having. Tammy, Walk Flock of Tammy.
Okay.
And I got there. It was literally just me and her talking for like 2 hours.
Wow.
I wasn't even interviewing her. I mean, I kind of was having a conversation style with her, but it wasn't filmed. It wasn't recorded. I have a lot of stories that aren't recorded. They're like stuff that happened to me. But sitting down talking to her, she's so cool. She we follow each other on Instagram now, but at the time Snapchat was big. She had like posted me on her Snapchat. Like I had like all these Snapchat like, girl, it was crazy. So.
And that goes a long way too. People kind of like just support or shouting out or a basic retweet or re-snap or whatever it is. That helps too. I also wanted to ask you and talk to you about like what did you think about, especially now, like women supporting women in this industry. Do you feel like it's still a part? Do you feel like we bridged the gap some? Like what's your take on, or even your personal take or your personal like trials with that, like women supporting women? Do you have a tribe of women? Do you have women backing you up? Do you have another woman that say, you know what, I got a gig for you, or that kind of puts you maybe in position to get a certain job? What do you think about that? Because I have an opinion about it too, but I kind of wanted to hear your take on it.
As far as me personally, I would always support women, because I just always have the mindset of like what God has for me is for me and what God has for you is for you.
Yes.
So it takes me nothing to connect you with a person or send an email or send your resume. That's just how I've been, women or not women actually. Like I don't have a problem plugging anybody. I have been in positions where I plug people and it was not reciprocated, or they gave credit to other people. It's just the nature of the game. I don't stop being myself for that. But I'm always gonna be supportive of women, and I feel like we've kind of gotten better, but I feel like it's still people, society, media especially, is always going to be pin women against each other no matter what. It's just so unfortunate how it is. It's like you have to pick a side.
Only one. It can only be one.
Only one.
And that's how the music industry. I feel like right now we're kind of getting better. It's kind of opened up the floodgates because you have all type of women right now that are all just shining.
But we're talking about working in the industry as a woman.
Exactly.
They wanted to only be one. Oh, and we're gonna be specific. Only one black woman.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about women in general. We're talking about black women specific here. It's very hard for us in any industry because you want to work at a cohesive effort with other women, but sometimes they don't rock with you like that because they have the mindset of, oh, well, if I help her, she might get above me. And that's the craziest thing to me. Because if it's for you, there is nothing I can do to try to stop your bag, as Nicki Minaj would say. Like, you talking about stopping bags? Like, no, I cannot stop nothing for you if it's truly meant for you. And I don't even have that type of heart just because that's karma to me. Like, I'm not gonna put that energy out to stop some opportunity because I don't want that in turn, something like that to happen to me. Like, I'm always gonna be good to people, but I feel like women, we could always get better with supporting one another. Like you said, like we've made lanes for sure, but it's things like society or your work field or even people who just carry around this like I can't help nobody because no one helped me, or if I help me then it's gonna hold me back type of crabs in the bucket mentality, then I think that's what sets us back. But I feel like we are making strides due to things that have happened in the world, like social injustices, racism, the Breonna Taylors, the Sandra Bland's. Like I feel like it brought women together as more of a unity as a collective, because we know that we are more powerful together than we are separate, and we have like the protect black women and things like that. But I know niggas personally with them shirts, okay, that do not protect black women, and it's nasty out here. Y'all need to stop using that hashtag.
I will. And I'm going to shoot my shot on that one.
Shoot your shot.
Speaking
of shooting shots, what you think about shooting your shot at guys?
I'm bold like that.
You will?
I have no problem with doing that. I'm very non-traditional. I don't need the guy to come up to me. Like, if I see something I like or a guy that I like, I'm going to go up to you. I love you on this table.
Because it's only about to get up here, y'all. I'm not tall, okay?
You were hilarious. Like, you really want to do something.
And I still didn't hit it.
You want to do something.
I'm not going to shoot my shot.
You not?
No.
Why?
Because that's not my job.
I disagree. I hear you.
It's not my job.
I hear you. But there's certain elements that aren't my job.
You gonna change the tire too?
I'm not doing that.
I'm not shooting my shot either.
I'm not changing no tires.
Am I?
And I still feel very much so like I still feel like a man. Like I'm gonna wait right here because I want you to open up the door.
Absolutely.
I'm going to wait.
Absolutely.
I want you to open up the door.
But I feel like shooting my shot
on the sidewalk. If I feel like you're not pulling me to the inside of the car, I feel like you're over to get hit.
But what if you like? I mean, you already shot your shot, girl. You might be on the end. Shit. Change my tire.
No, I'm saying it's different. It's different tiers to this. If I see it, I'm sorry, if I see a guy that's just fine as shit over there, what's up, how are you? I may not like go full on, but I'm gonna walk up to him and say something.
That's so good, Chrissy. I'm
gonna walk up and say something. I may not go full on like, can I get your number and all of that, but I'm gonna talk. And then maybe he'll see something in me that he likes, and maybe then I have that fantasy. Maybe he'll ask for my number. But even if he doesn't, at least I went up to him and I spoke.
Okay, I maybe will lie about it, like email. It's like, do I know you from somewhere? You look so familiar to me. I don't know you.
That's game.
Okay,
That's a whole lot of game.
Did you grew up over? No, that's not your area. Okay, you are from. Okay, I don't know. Maybe stuff in there.
That's a whole lot of game.
But I'm not into like DMing guys and shooting my shot like that. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm definitely not DMing.
That's what I mean. Like, I mean, we haven't been outside like that. So that's shooting my shot.
I'll shoot my shot when the world opens back up, but I'm not DMing no niggas.
So will you like 10 of his pictures and then hope he DM you?
That's thirsty, but I'm gonna do that. Now that I have done. That's thirsty. I know it's thirsty. They do it all the time. They do it all the time. So thirsty.
And I'm gonna judge you as a man on what pictures you like on my page too. Cause I'm gonna be like, you liking the little like breasts is out pictures.
So that means you got a crush.
Right, but you're not liking like the regular I got a sweater on pictures. You know what I'm saying? That means you coming after like something motive. I don't
So
know.
I can see. So it depends. Like, so I know what guys want depending on what I post also. So if
Me
I'm
too.
posting like my salmon croquettes on a Sunday morning and he says that meal looks good, oh, he want a wife.
Hello.
But if he posted that photo of me on that,
At the pool.
my two-piece
Your two-piece.
and putting the fire emojis, then he's trying to get some kitty cat.
Exactly.
So it depends.
It depends. So fellas, if you're watching this and you want to be smart, maneuver around what we saying, you better like the church pictures. Praise the Lord, sis.
or I can tell like a family man, or he'll like all the pictures of my daughter, or he'll say stuff about my kid. I'm like, oh, okay, he kind of maybe wants a family, or he has that dynamic of wanting the woman, the kid, and all of that. So I'm.
You know, when you are somebody who is like yourself or myself, and you out here, you're chasing your dreams, you're being a mom, you're going after your goals. Like those are things that I feel like are attractive in theory, but I came across situations where it's been rather intimidating. So
it's a gift and a curse. Huh?
It is a gift and a curse. I feel like you'll meet people and then or guys and you'll
because it's the same thing like men say like I'm busy.
They think that you're so busy. I'm busy. I am busy. I will say that.
I'm busy, but I'm not that damn busy.
Exactly. So I can't like date somebody.
If you want to take me on a date, okay, what time? I'll be ready, please. What time? So I'm gonna be ready. I'm not that busy. Just say, hey, Friday night, I'll be ready. Trust me.
Ask the days, right? What days work well for you? If you're really interested, I'll tell you. Oh, Sunday at this time. Okay, cool. That doesn't work for me. What about Wednesday? Like, you can figure it out. Don't just stop right there because, like, it's just you playing. Like, you just be like, oh, I was trying to talk to you, but you busy. You wasn't serious because you didn't even follow up and know, like, what day, what time. You didn't make a plan.
Have you ever been the woman that always make the plans?
No, I won't.
You don't even like.
No.
You don't make no plans?
I will when we're in a relationship, yeah. Or if we dating seriously. I'm not gonna make the first date though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do any of that stuff in the beginning. Like I just feel like it's not why am I planning our first date?
Yeah. Well, if he asks you out, he should already have something set up. Yes.
Girl, they don't be having stuff set up.
They don't. What you wanna do?
Get out my
Can I
face.
get cut the house? No, you cannot.
No, I cannot get out. Get out my face. Get out my
But why do they always want to come to your house?
Because they don't have any money. They're broke.
I'm just kidding. Another time. That's another time. I'm just kidding. They don't have no. You know what they do? I think they're just hornballs.
That's who when you broke. Why am I doing house if you
love? I ain't trying to I want to give men a benefit of.
Okay, and let me say something. Let me
because I do understand that money be tight.
But
that's during
let
COVID.
me-
Y'all been scheming and scamming during COVID.
But
so there's no reason why.
If you got an SBA loan and you want to get to your house, you got a loan. Because you can afford crustaceans. But let me see what I'm trying to
Y'all
say.
should be wanting to die the shit out of women.
Everything that I say, let me just be clear on get familiar with me, is that I have a very funny personality. Everything's for comedic satire. Like I'm not all day walking around thinking men are broke. This is just funny, just a general consensus that y'all don't have money. But what I'm saying is listen, it's not that men don't have money. I feel that there is. It ain't just how niggas is broke. It's not. No, what I'm trying to say is that women we can go.
Real quick, Chris has 10 more minutes.
Okay, so I'm gonna say if I can go back to how it started. We're not gonna go there because I'm not here to talk about men. We're here to get familiar with me. So
we're talking about it.
I'm just going to say that it's just that women have this day and age have been way more. I'm terrible. Have been just way more successful, and that's just not even. That's statistically. That's not just locally or anything like that. So I think that's where it comes. Like I do know successful men. I know a lot of them. A lot of them are in my family. But then there are a lot of men that just let's get somewhere else. I'm not gonna fall for this because
You know what I mean? So,
because I can talk about this for like all night. Not have time. Just get familiar with me.
for me, like I never, not that I don't want a successful man or a man with money, but I come from money. Like my parents are very successful. Like I come from a very my parents are set. The men in my life, as far as like I have my biological father and a stepfather who
that's nice.
both are successful.
That's lovely.
So I've never needed a nigga for money or ever looked or been itching like I need.
But the same, I grew up the same. I grew up with my dad. My dad took care of everything for my mom.
Yes.
He always went to work, but I was always independent. And I'm not someone that looks for handouts when it comes to men. What I'm saying is if I'm coming to the situation with ambition, with finances to be able to do whatever for myself. Exactly. I take myself nice places now as a single woman. I buy myself nice things now as a single woman. So why am I going to come into the situation with somebody who cannot match that and go backwards? Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're broke. That's just a joke. I don't know y'all finances. I don't know what EDD cards y'all have. I'm just saying.
Who y'all scamming on?
I don't know what job EDD cards you have, but I'm just saying, just match what I have going on, or not, take me even higher. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair.
That's what I'm about. I'm about
But dating in LA or dating just.
We about to be familiar with me, not them. So what's up?
I really will say I give up on this shit. I'm not that I'm looking, but I'm like, y'all are tired. They're tired.
Well, and see,
it's a whole
the thing is, that's true, but I use that time as a single woman to work on myself, to better myself, to get fit, like you said, to work on my craft, work on my passion, to work on everything mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, as a single woman. I don't walk around necessarily looking for a man or handouts. I just want to be in a position when the right one comes.
Yes.
That's it. That's all my single journey has been about, being in a position. Not like, oh, we're the next one. I'm going to do that. I got work to do.
That's a good philosophy and theory because I was raised like that to my mom. My mom always taught us to have our own.
Absolutely.
And to always work on ourselves.
Absolutely.
My mom's like, don't ever you have to be able to bring to the table. You and your partner need to be equal. To some degree, in the sense of like, if he don't have it, you need to be able to have it. You know what I mean? Like you got.
And that's how we were raised, right?
Yeah.
I was raised the same way. But let me tell you what happens a lot in society. That same conversation was not happening with boys. It always happens. I was reading something the other day. They said, why when you're a young girl, you get pressed to like, don't depend on man, have your own, go out, move out of the house. But then the boy stays there till he's like 40. It's like women, sometimes mothers will coddle their son, but push their daughters to be more independent, to not need a man.
Do you think that's not having a dad in the household?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's also probably too like a black man thing. Do you think that's a black man thing? I don't think other ethnicities or ethnic backgrounds have that same issue like black.
But we can go all the way back to like Jim Crow law. We can go back to black men being incarcerated and the systematic oppression. That's how far it goes back. Yeah. That's why when I see black men who are doing things or not doing things, I don't necessarily judge because it's really a systematic oppression that happened. It's really a generational thing. It's not because this young man was born and said, I'm not gonna be shit, I don't wanna do shit. Something happened. Something happened to his father, lack thereof, and something happened to that man's father. It just goes all the way back. Like his dad's dad could have been this and that, or locked up and he never had it, then he never had it, then he never had it, then somewhere down the line, nobody stepped in to guide that young man. You get what I'm saying? So they learn it from either the streets, television, or their friends. That's why it's not fair to put black men like all these type of objectives or judgment, because really it's just society, to be honest, and that's not making an excuse, that's just the truth. But we were pushed to go out, be independent, have your own, don't this and that. A lot of women grew up seeing their mother work hard as well, so it pushed us to be more ambitious, or our mothers told us because of the mistakes that they maybe made with men, like, well, you be different, you be independent. So that's why we're like that. Yeah. So that's why all I'm saying is like when you're going to a dating situation, you want somebody to be able to match you, because I'm not here to coddle you, because I'm here to work on myself and be the best version of myself. So why would I expect less from you? You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have the type of mindset, you're going to pull me down on my journey, because I'm constantly gonna have to go back to make sure you're okay and pull you up. So it's best to date that matching at your level, or if not even above. So then it could finally be equal for you. That's all I'm saying. But I didn't come here and talk about dating. I can't talk about myself.
No, we're gonna
my journey.
We about to open up a whole nother on another day.
On another
We're gonna do
day.
another whole. We gotta do like a dating in LA, because this is very interesting.
Oh, girl, I can talk about shit all day. Like,
This is very, very interesting. I don't know. I'm sure this a little bit more, but I don't know about this pool situation.
I tried.
But I appreciate you joining me. Like, this was super, super cool, and just kind of hearing your story and your background. I really wanted to kind of tap into your world a little bit.
I know. I feel like I spend so much time on guys, which is not even why I'm here. I didn't really talk about myself as much, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, you know.
Yeah, sure.
That's really on my journey. I worked at E-News as well, and how I got to E-News is another hustle type of way. I mean, my story is really crazy. I'm giving like the draft here on what happened to me, but most of those things, like I said, have just been me hustling, just having super faith in myself, faith in my talent, and then just kind of networking. Networking is like my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Building relationships, and just kind of never looking to what other people have going on, but stay focused on what I'm doing. We can fall into that trap of comparing ourselves, but you know, your journey is your journey. I just always put one foot in front of the other, just figure out the next best thing for myself. And you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna, go to the drawing board, like you said. You've never been scared to just kind of find out what works and what doesn't work. But the only way you found it out was by actually working. You know what I'm saying? Go out on the streets and you don't get it. Because people ask me all the time, like, how do I interview celebrities? Well, you don't make celebrities your goal. Because I never went into it wanting to interview celebrities. I went into it wanting to talk to everyday people. And I still have a passion to this day for everyday people. I'm not celebrity driven. Like, I gotta get a celebrity. Because then to me, you're chasing something else. You're chasing something that might be fleeting, like a popularity and things like that. So for me, the alignment of the process has always been like prayer, preparation, like process, like purpose, payment, then popularity. Popularity is like the last thing on my mind. Like, if I never get to whatever followers, or no one really, necessarily I get to this level of fame, then I know that I've made some sort of impact on people, because that's what it's about. It's impact over income. So that's always been we're in the entertainment business, but I've always thought that being able to use my personality has just been a gift that got me in places. Dope. And not being afraid to talk to people. You can't be afraid to talk to people. I think the fear of rejection is the whole people back.
Absolutely.
Once they say no, then you go to someone who's gonna say yes. That's just
keep going.
That's how it works.
Keep going. I love that. So you're working on your show. Drop that information again for your show.
Oh yes, it's on my YouTube, Bombshell TV, and then the show is called Behind the Beat, and those episodes will start airing in actually a couple weeks. And I have other stuff going on.
And your Instagram and your Twitter is Bombshell.
With a 0. So Twitter is Bombshell B0 MBCHELL. And that's where you can see a whole lot of funny viral shit on there.
Yes. Every day is something new.
I'm so funny.
Day.
And then Instagram is, it's Bombshell. I think Instagram is so boring. I'm so over Instagram. If I can delete Instagram, I would.
Yeah.
And just live.
It's just not interactive at all.
It used to be. It was like such a cool place to be. Now it's just like, it's influencer driven.
It really is.
And it's like,
and it's the same shit all day.
All day.
It's the same shit.
All day.
It's the same shit. So we're over this game. And thank you for tuning in. Till next time.
Bye.
From the left coast, it's a show for the streets. Strictly for the culture, strictly for our people. YouTube the views, log on and stream. Some news you can use with your host, Chrissy B. Get familiar. Yeah. Get familiar.